Welcome back into another episode of the Spaceman 2.0 Phoenix Truth Rising Show, here to help you grow in the knowledge and wisdom of truth, and the truth will set you free. With the best history lesson and spiritual insights on the planet, exposure of the Illuminati's plan of world conquest and control is the death knell to the New World Order. So let's get back into what is the mark of the beast and what it could be. There's different aspects to it, and the unveiling of it is part of the joy of understanding these mysteries. Have to do it yourself, figure it out, and a little work has to be done by reading something a little bit here and there. Let's look at what's been going on in the news. We got that Air India flight that was blown up. Now the crash looks quite orchestrated, with the one guy survivor and how he's walking away. He's all tough and stuff, and it's just a mockery of reality in action. So let's know that the mainstream media likes to confuse us with a lot of CGI. Even the planes going to 9/11 was a hologram. There was no real plane going into those buildings. They showed you that on the TV only. And with that being said, let's get back into what the computer is, the beast, 666, and how it can be used to also free us. Because in the book of Revelations, I believe there's a big beast and the little beast beast can be taken over by the big beast, which could be the computer can take out the beast's system. And how can that be? Through blockchain technology in this day and age, because man innovates. And we love to create inventions farther ahead than the governments of all times, because we are human beings and we are made in the image of God, and we are creative. We are creators. And in that being, we are automatically trying to innovate, find newer, easier, faster ways to do things, understanding things clearer, more deeper. The governments run by the communist Khazarian mafias don't want us to be clear and understanding the truth. So they keep us caught up in systems, but we can use these systems to free us. That's where God comes in. God never has a plan that you can't, never puts you into something that he can't get you out of. All right, so remember that. You just have to use some ingenuity and understanding that blockchain technology, through its transparency, unhackability, we can use it to vote, know where all the money is going, and all the governments and even corporations. If they disclose it, we can understand exactly what's taking place if you were to purchase another company. So continuing on with computer can equal 666, the beast. And it says in the Bible, all people, both small and great, rich and poor, have been caused to receive a social security number in order to work and pay taxes to the government. So this can be another aspect of that. SEC 301-6109-1, identifying numbers. A, in general, 1, Social Security numbers and employers' identification numbers. There are two types of taxpayer identifying numbers. Social Security numbers take the form 3 zeros, or 3 digits, then 2, then 4, while employer identification numbers take the form of 2 digits and then 7, I believe. Social Security numbers identify individual persons and estates of descendants. Code of Federal Regulations, Title 26, Internal Revenue Service, 1985. The codes written for the federal United States total 50 in number. These are the laws and statutes written only for the federal United States and not for the United States of America, being the sovereign 50 states under the constitutional republic. See how they get you? So, did you believe you live in the United States or the United States of America? Two different things. Just like if you get pulled over, if you consider yourself a driver or just an operator of an automobile. There's two different meanings right there. One is for commercial purposes and you're using it to make money. The other is just to freely travel along the common roadway. Two different aspects, and that's why one can be taxed and the other can't. So you have to know where you are at. I'm not saying to use this knowledge if you do get pulled over. I'm just saying this is the facts. These are the laws and statutes written only for the federal United States and not for the United States of America, being the sovereign 50 states under the constitutional republic. Included in these 50 titles are the Internal Revenue Title 26, the Public Health and Welfare Title 42, Postal Service Title 39, National Guard Title 32, Labor Title 29, Education Title 20, Banking, Title 12, Public Buildings, Property and Works, Title 40, Public Lands, Title 43, Agriculture, Hospitals, Money and Finance, Public Printing, Documents, Telegraphs, Telephones, and Radio Telegraphs, Transportation, etc., etc., etc. All of the United States codes control our everyday life. We're living under the federal control of the beast without even realizing it. This other nation, which is also called the United States, is a mystery to most Americans, hence the mystery religion to most Americans, a mystery of Babylon. And the codes and language of the codes are confusing to the average person. The Hebrew word for Babylon translates to confusion. I just said that, mystery Babylon. And it says it right there. The two words that are shown, mystery Babylon. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, Revelation 17:5. Most Americans have been tricked into believing they are living under a constitutional republic protected by the Bill of Rights, when in fact they are living under a legislative democracy fully controlled by the federal government under the counterfeit identity name United States. We should read that again to clearly understand that. Get that memorized. Most American people have been tricked into believing that they are living under a constitutional republic protected by the Bill of Rights, when in fact they are living under a legislative democracy fully controlled by the federal government under the counterfeit identity name United States. Our proud flag, red, white, and blue, has even been changed to the federal flag, which has added an extra color to it, yellow. The yellow fringe, which has been placed around the borders of the American flag, has been in every court of our nation since 1938. You know what that means, right? Emergency rule, meaning the government or the president can use executive powers, and that's what they show you, and they make it look like it's normal, but executive powers is writing things out without going through Congress is not a normal thing unless you're in a state of war, and that's what they want to keep us continuously in, a state of perpetual war under their legal system, whether it's a war on drugs like Barbara Bush said back in the 90s or whatever, and it is just one war after another, so they can keep the gold fringe around the flag and keep you from accessing the constitutional republic laws and keep you in the federal government under emergency rule, under maritime law, admiralty law, where they actually just control you like a slave. So let's continue on. This ensign is the international maritime flag used by the Navy when our ships enter a foreign port to acknowledge to said foreign country that we are recognizing international law. Our courts, therefore, are telling us in a most subtle way that the court is exercising international law under admiralty jurisdiction. Under admiralty jurisdiction, maritime law, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights are invalid for your defense in a criminal case against you. So you see, the so-called national debt is actually the federal credit debt of the District of Columbia, owned by the federal United States to the international banking houses, Rothschild Bank of England. See, so the United States of America has no debt. It's only the federal United States has a debt. And we could abolish that in a second with the stroke of a pen. That's why the pen is mightier than the sword. And they turned their squires into esquires. And the original amendment to the Constitution, number 13, was actually that no men of nobility or esquire or any title of secret society can be in the government, can be a man that's in places of office, cannot hold a place of office if you hold a nobility title of sir or you have any other recognition under your belt, or if you're a lawyer. But that was taken out. Now all the congressmen are lawyers because they know they can control the laws and they can manipulate us. So with that one understanding, we are in a deeper way understanding how we are totally controlled by these guys, because they took out the 13th Amendment, which is no title of nobility, which when the knights, they asked for their sword, they asked for their squire to give me my sword. Now the knight has an esquire, which is a lawyer. The stroke of a pen does his killing for him. Under Admiralty jurisdiction, maritime law, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights are invalid for your defense in a criminal case against you. The so-called national debt is actually the federal credit debt of the District of Columbia, owned by the federal United States to the international banking houses, Rothschild, Bank of England, and we, the people, are paying that said debt, the usury on the credit loan, in the form of taxes. The interest on the credit debt is now over $5 trillion and climbing daily. The sovereign United States of America has been enslaved to the creditors, international bankers, who now own and control our Congress and judicial branches of government. We are now under the mark of the beast. A gentleman went over the taxes paid in Canada in 2022, and it equaled with all of the sales tax and everything after income tax and everything, which came up to $300 billion, $400 billion, around $500 billion, $500 billion is paid to the government yearly, and that was in 2022 in taxes. So what are they doing with this money? America was the only nation which was founded on biblical principles and the common law, enumerated in the first 10 amendments, known as the Bill of Rights. The 10 Commandments and the Bill of Rights are God's given laws and rights guaranteed to we the people. The general public has allowed the government to supersede the natural laws and place individuals under legislative law, man's law, thereby controlling the people by statutes of Congress. Things which were once lawful to do under the law of God, Yahweh, such as marriage, have now taken on the state as a partner. Once upon a time, two people who wanted to marry simply obtained a preacher and had a church wedding, no license to do something that is lawful under God's law and the common law. People are conditioned to believe that a child born out of wedlock will be a bastard and termed an illegitimate child. Most Christians have read the passage in Deuteronomy 23:2, which states, "A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord." Most people accepting Webster's dictionary as the correct authority on words use Webster's definition of bastard. Bastard, bastard, child born out of wedlock, illegitimate, false, counterfeit. So in the next episode, we're going to get into the real definition of bastard.